What's up, Medtronica? Today, I've got another special interview for you all. It's not every day we get to sit down with an award-winning music producer and live performer like Rodriguez Jr. What an honor it was to speak with the electronic music pioneer. This episode is timely because today we talked about his newest album, Feathers and Bones, which has just been released this past month on all platforms. Rodriguez Jr. stays true to his roots, exploring different sounds throughout the album, and brings in musician, artist, and life partner Liset on a number of tracks. I think that's a beautiful aspect of the album, and this is a personal recommendation to go check it out. I've linked everything in the bio below. We also got into what it was like for him pioneering a genre early on in his career, and the influences that came along with that. Then, we spoke about his experience with the Soundgarden during Miami Music Week and all of the magic that makes an event like that so special, especially for him as a live performer. Funny story, I actually saw him perform live at City Fox Halloween 2019 before Medtronica was even a thought. I think it's cool when things like that come full circle. So, with that being said, please like, comment, and share or follow if it feels true to you. It really helps out the podcast. And I hope you enjoy this episode. Oliver, am I saying it correctly? Is it incorrect? How do you pronounce it?
That's Olivier.
Olivier.
But since I've moved to America, I went to Oliver because that distraction is. Sorry, excuse me. So yeah,
Because we can't pronounce crab.
yeah, no, I just removed the useless letters.
I want to say thank you for inviting me in here to talk to you today. We're going to cover a couple topics. But first and foremost, Miami Music Week 2023 just happened. You, my friend, are on a different level of energy. I love it. So I want to tell a little story. Will and I, so shout out to Super Progressive again. Thank you, Will. We're filming during the Soundgarden at the Sagamore Hotel. And we're there, we're doing some interviews. We did one with Nick Warren before the show went on. We did one with Elif, one of the other artists who didn't perform at the Soundgarden, but was there. And it was so cool to talk to her. And then Will comes in. He's out there capturing video content. I'm inside watching the stuff that our gear. And he comes in and the sun has just gone down. And I can hear and feel the bass going on outside. And I can't be there, so I'm jealous. And he comes in and I say, how is it? And he goes, dude, Rodriguez Jr. is on the synth and he is ripping. So I basically like high-five him and I run out to go get some content. And you are in your element. You are on the keyboard, you are with the crowd. And to experience that, to see how invested and passionate you are was just so fun. So I want to say thank you for bringing that energy to the Soundgarden and to Miami Music Week. I love when DJs give and they get back because it's a symbiotic relationship with the crowd. So just like a little note there and a little story to show my appreciation. And then I got to see you at Treehouse later in the week and you brought it again right after Porky and Lee Reynolds. Lee Reynolds were on, legend. And Doc Martin was there in the corner vibing, and he's another artist we got to interview who's there for the culture. And it's just really refreshing to see how passionate artists are, especially like for artists that have been doing it so long. You've been in this space for over 20 years. You're a pioneer of deep house music and of the genre. So I want to ask, when was your first Winter Music Conference, or when did you first come to Miami Music Week, and what has it meant to your career?
It's been a long time ago now. It's probably in 2000, maybe 13, something like this. It was called the Miami Winter Conference back then. And I remember it was only small parties, pool parties here and there in South Beach. It was a different vibe back then. Very different, very innocent in a way. And but I remember I had this instant connection with Miami. I was like, oh wow, it's pretty cool here. And and I kept coming back every year. And it's crazy to see how big it is now. You know, like the Miami Music Week is so big now. They had to move to downtown and even Hialeah now. You know, it's huge. So it's crazy to see how it has developed over the years.
And what type of impact has it had on your career with coming to Winter Music Conference? A lot of artists will talk about they broke songs here, and it would be the place that they distributed new records or new tracks. Have you had any of those moments at Winter Music Conference?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I remember for my last albums, there is always this moment where you try for the very first time your track, either at the Miami Winter Conference. There are a few events like this in the world, you know, Amsterdam Dance Event, Sonar Festival, and Miami Music Week, for instance. And of course, it's great because you have like these audiences coming from all over the world, you know, and they expect something big and unique, and that's a perfect environment for testing out new tracks.
I can definitely see that, and based on what you're saying, it's this opportunity to really see like how a crowd's going to respond, and to the new track that you're going to drop, and you can experiment with that, which I think is super, super cool. And you definitely brought that at the Soundgarden, which is what I want to pivot to, and I want to ask about that. Before I ask about that, new album, Amplify and Lithium, 2 songs on there. Transitions, you get the shout out from John Digweed. I want to talk about the present. Congratulations, that's amazing. On the album, great tracks. I've listened to both, really love them. And congratulations to be featured on Transitions. You know, John Digweed doesn't hand out compliments, and to feature both of your songs in one mix, it's pretty impressive.
That was pretty insane. Yeah, that was pretty insane. Actually, Amplify and Lithium that's the first single of my forthcoming album coming out in May. So, and I've been working on this album for like 2 years now. I was starting recording it in Paris, and I finished it a couple of months ago here in Miami. So, you know, like you spend so much time and you don't know what to expect, you know. And John Digweed plays 2 tracks in the show. So I was like, oh wow, thank you so much. It's like it's the best reward you can get, you know. So I was very very proud of it, of course. And now I'm looking forward to see how the next singles and how the album will be received.
I'm really looking forward to seeing and hearing the rest of the album, because the 2 singles you put out so far, really, really impressive. Was listening to Lithium on the way over here. I listened to Amplify a couple times too. I love the track. I love that you featured your partner, Liset, on the track as well. Beautiful vocals, and not just like the partnership on the song, but partnership in life too. I think that's really, really special that you both were able to come together and work on that piece. I'm really excited to see what else comes out of this album. Super excited. I want to ask, Paris, Miami. You made the move. I want to open up the floor to ask you about that, how it's been, why you made the move, and yeah, just want to hear about that.
Yeah, it's many different reasons. I mean, the first answer is probably beyond me, you know, like the sun, of course, and the weather and the sea and just the quality of life generally is amazing. You know, it's amazing being here. And, you know, we were having quite a nice life in Paris, but the pandemic, what a baby. And I don't know, the energy was just wrong for us. And we thought it was the perfect time for a new chapter of our life, you know. So, and my partner Liset is Cuban American. She grew up in Miami. So we have a community here. We have a family. So it was just like the right combinations between things. And yeah, we're like, okay, let's do it. You know, that's the right time. Let's be crazy. Let's move to Miami. And yeah, it's been great. It's been an adventure. It's been a journey. It's been difficult, you know, like many difficulties on the way. But it's probably the price of the American dream.
I think that's a good way to view it, for sure. And I want to touch on something that you said in Paris in the pandemic. I was doing my research and I saw there were some other interviews out there that had asked a similar question. And you said that the pandemic forced you to create the music you've always wanted to create. Yeah. And to be the producer, the DJ that you always wanted to be. Can you talk a little bit more about what that process was like and why you arrived?
Yeah, sure, of course. I really enjoyed this process. I really enjoyed going through this difficult time because I had to face myself, like a lot of people, you know, and we all had to figure out how we could be artists without traveling around, without being in front of an audience, you know. And it was quite a deep experience, you know. So I really enjoyed it. And of course, when you face yourself like this, you need to understand who you are, you know, in a better way. It's probably also one of the reasons why we ended up moving to Miami. I just realized that I just wanted to do whatever I wanted to do, and looking for freedom also in my music, in my life, in everything. And that was it, you know. So that was very interesting. During the pandemic also, I worked on this all art masterclass. I worked on sound packs. So I had to kind of understand my own music, understand how it was made, and learn about myself. So it was a very interesting process.
Wow, sounds like very reflective.
Yeah, it was really. It was not easy, but it was definitely enjoyable.
And you're not the first artist I've interviewed to say that. There have been other artists that said it allowed me to really explore my production or their production. And it was this time where they didn't have to travel as much and they got to spend more time with their family and be in the studio. Does that resonate at all with you?
100%, 100%. Generally, you know, like I think like struggles, difficulties are a very important part of the creative process, you know. It can't be easy all the time, you know, and this is why we decided to be musicians or artists or whatever, you know, but you need to embrace those difficulties and to understand about yourself and about the world and about everything, you know. It's part of the understanding of life. It's very important.
And I've read and I've heard and I'm now starting to really understand that as an artist, it's probably the biggest risk to have a career in art, whether it's painting, whether it's music, whether it's design, whether it's speech, whatever your art form is, to make a career and move in that direction is the biggest risk one you can take and the most challenging too, because there's no clear trajectory and you will have to face yourself. You will have to face those struggles. So I want to just commend you because you've been doing that for 20 plus years. And I was listening to some of your tracks like 1977 and then I went all the way back to 2008 and the sounds that you were exploring there, I see artists and hear artists, someone like Yodo, replicating that, but you did it in 2008. These like deep, like horn turning, I don't know, because I'm not a producer and I don't know what the synths are, but these sounds still are current and relevant to today. So I want to open up the floor for you to talk a little bit about what it was like pioneering that space at that time.
I didn't think about that, but I know that I always had the intuition that emotion should be at the core of my music. Probably it's because of my influences, but because of the music I was listening in the 80s or in the 90s. But since the very beginning, I've always tried to do something different and with a lot of emotion. You know, when I started in the late 90s, for instance, the music scene, the electronic music scene in south of France was really hard. It was very techno banging. Mm-hmm. And I remember already I was trying to do something a bit different. I was very influenced by Detroit, but I was really looking already for those melodies and this emotion. And that's probably why I explored those territories very early in my career.
So interesting because I still hear those sounds today. And it's so cool to see the inception of them and like where they were coming from. It just really jogged my memory. And I want to touch on your influences. And this is a question that my buddy Will from Super Progressive wanted to ask you. So I'm going to ask it verbatim. And he said, you're on your own vibe. You are on your own vibe. Your energy is unlike anything we've seen. And to have influences that come through, and especially influences earlier in electronic music, like live groups, specifically like the Chemical Brothers, Underworld, Orbital, they're a rare breed of like the live performances. Did any of those types of artists, groups have an influence on you? And what were some of your what were the influences?
100%. 100%. I was talking about the Chemical Brothers. I remember 1997 in south of France. They were touring with their album Dig Your Own Hole. And I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. You know, with the wall of synthesizers and this energy and sounds going around, like, was insane. And yeah, so big influence. Very good example. The Chemical Brothers, Underworld, of course. Same time, 96, 97, Orbital, of course. Actually, I started listening to electronic music in the 80s. I remember I was already maybe 7, 8 years old, and I would listen to Jean-Michel Jarre on the radio, Kraftwerk, you know. Depeche Mode already had these electronic sounds, and I had this obsession for electronic sounds because I had the feeling they were coming from inside, you know. They didn't have any acoustic and physical reality, you know, and I was obsessed about that. But yeah, eventually the 90s, rave music scene, electronic music scene in south of France, and yeah, the Chemical Brothers, Orbital, Underworld, LFO. I was obsessed about warp music, LFO, Aphex Twin, Boards of Canada, Otekre. I mean, it was it's still nowadays, it's still the backbone of my music. They didn't have any acoustic and physical reality, you know, and I was obsessed about that. But yeah, eventually the 90s, rave music scene, electronic music scene in south of France, and yeah, the Chemical Brothers, Orbital, Underworld, LFO. I was obsessed about warp music, LFO, Aphex Twin, Boards of Canada, Otekre. I mean, it was I
want to talk about the Soundgarden. Because the Soundgarden, for me, I didn't really know about it before, but what I experienced was really remarkable. Miami Music Week for me this year, I went once more as more of just like a goer, an observer 5 years ago. But I didn't get to experience what happened at the Soundgarden. And for me, what happened at the Soundgarden was we had an array of different artists that were lined up there. And I want to know for you, with the Soundgarden, to have a sense of belonging, because the Soundgarden really brings this familial and communal sense of no artist is going to do this on their own, and they all support each other. And I really think that comes from the two people that are the biggest part of it, Petra and Nick Warren. They foster that cultural belonging and that familial vibe like nothing I've ever experienced. And I love to see it because I come from a background of team sports, and that's something you really get in team sports. And to see that that parallel in electronic music, so inspiring. So to be a part of something so familial, but give you the space to do what you do best and to be an artist and explore all that. What's it like to be a part of a group like that?
Oh, it's amazing. That's exactly what I love about Soundgarden. It's not only about the music, it's about the community and it's about the experience. It's a very symbiotic thing. And it's just amazing being part of it because, of course, the music is important, but the whole energy, the connection with the audience, the connection between artists, you know. And as you said, Petra and Nick, they don't have anything to prove anymore. They just want to propose something great and enjoyable. They just want to share their passion for beautiful music and creating moments. And that's the beauty of this kind of events. It's a moment that you can bring you back, you know, and it's fantastic. Yeah.
And I think, to your point, it's everywhere the Soundgarden goes, whether it's in Argentina and they sell out for 70,000 people, or whether it's here in Miami, it's this familial following, I think is a better word, that it transpires throughout countries. And wherever you go, whether it's going to be Europe, they're bringing it to the UK, or they're bringing it here or back in Argentina, there's that love and belonging for the Soundgarden. And it was so cool to see that happening in real time because I've only heard about it.
Yeah, and that's crazy because whoever plays, it's always the same kind of feeling and vibe, and so it's really beyond the music. It's really about the community and the symbiosis between things, you know. That's quite unique. That's quite unique in this music scene, particularly now when everything is very formatted. You know, like each event has a very specific kind of music, very defined and formatted somehow. I don't want to complain about that, but that's how it is. You know, like if you know, it's very open. Soundgarden is very open-minded, and it's remarkable.
You hit on a point there that Nick Warren said when we asked him similar question. Curating the lineup, which is what Petra is mainly in charge of. You have this breadth of artists, whether it's Francesco Lombardo, you, Nick Warren, Elise, all these different artists. They bring all this different vibe. Where, you know, some shows like you were saying, if you go, you know, okay, these artists, I know I'm going to get tech house, or I know I'm going to get just deep house over here. But you all really bring a nice blend, especially at the one Miami Music Week. So I just really wanted to point that out, so to say thank you.
It's amazing. Actually, it's how music should be when you think about that. I remember, like, I don't want to sound nostalgic because I'm not.
Please do.
I don't want to talk like these old people, you know, like it was not better before. But what I really enjoyed in the 90s, like during the night, you will listen to drum and bass and techno, a little bit of house. Maybe then you will go to the chill out area, listen to ambient music, and you know, and that's how music should be, you know. And I really like DJs who are able to embrace all those different genres in one night or in one set, even better. For instance, one of my mentors was Laurent Garnier, who is one of the only ones who was able to play like this wide spectrum of genres in one set and tell a great story, you know. And I love that. I respect that so much. That's how music should be. You know, particularly now it's so formatted. You know, you go on Beatport. Once again, I don't complain about it. Those are the rules, but they're like you have to click, you have to choose. You know, like, and it's every time they keep inventing new genres and subgenres. It doesn't make any sense.
I agree. And something that Nick said is, why can't you like tech house and techno? Why can't you like Depeche Mode? Why can't you like disco? Why not?
What about that?
Why not? Because I think they all can pull inspirations from each other, and they all should. And I think that is the sign of a great DJ or a great artist, is to be able to, like you said, Laurent Garnier, bring all of those in together. I said transcend earlier to Liset, and I think that applies here for artists that can bring that and mesh that together and transcend their own genre.
Absolutely, it's necessary.
Yes.
If we think about all the major music revolutions and new genres from the past century, they're all made of fusions of things, you know, like jazz, rock, hip hop, house music. So if you stop fusioning things, that it's over.
Yeah, the creativity dies.
It's over. So yeah, and I'm really curious to see what's coming next now, you know. What will be the next fusion? But we need to experiment. We need to meet each other, you know. And that's what I try to do in my music, actually. It's interesting because in my forthcoming album, I've tried a little bit to combine all those different influences: breakbeats, house music, ambient, pop music, without thinking too much about, you know, like rules and genres and stuff. And I'm curious to see what people would think about that.
Cool. I'm really looking forward to it, especially now that I know you're bringing in all these fusions. I think that's something really refreshing, because a lot of what you see on Beatport is click, scroll, this genre, top 10, this genre, top 10. And it's like, yes, there are being new genres, they're being invented, but it can get kind of geometric in the sense of
it's necessary.
Yeah,
it's necessary. We need to move forward. We need to move forward. You know, like, once again, if you listen to most of the tracks being released, they are produced with the same sound packs, with the same synthesizers, most of the time by the same ghost producers. So let's. I mean, we're not gonna, you know.
I'm not gonna name names.
I've been a ghost producer for a few years, so I know what it is, you know.
And I know you can speak to that.
So you tak is the same track, one dun, dun, dun. So I mean, we need to shake all that stuff a little bit, and this is why I like Soundgarden. You know, it's just like, yeah, like just like do whatever we like, and it's gonna be great. Please.
And I think that's part of it because the audience is open-minded enough and receptive
Yeah,
enough
exactly.
for it.
Yeah.
For sure. I think you have to be in a certain place as well for that.
Yeah.
Which makes that relationship between the artist and the audience even more special. I wanna open up the floor for you to talk about anything else that you want to talk about. The new album's coming out, any other new projects that you're working on, where people can find you and find your music, and any new upcoming shows that you want to let the people know about.
So yeah, a lot of things going on as I'm promoting my forthcoming album, which will be released in May, end of May. I have 2 singles coming soon. The next one is with Stereo MCs. We are talking about the old school. So
Yeah.
I was very happy to collaborate with those guys. I grew up listening to their music and connected their hit track. So yeah, that's the next single with Stereo MCs. And then another single with Liset Alea, my partner, coming out in May. It's called Visions, and the album end of May. And then yeah, a lot of promotion. We are preparing the tour. I will be touring the US, South America, Europe in July and August. So it's going to be very intense. But I'm very excited to hit the road and play my music live, because I really like. I'm not a DJ, so I really have to convince all those different audiences with my own music, and I like this challenge, like being on stage, naked, and okay, let's make it happen. So yeah, it's pretty much my schedule for the next couple of months, and I'm really excited about that. And the rest of the time, I will be enjoying Miami.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate all your patience with everything happened today to get this interview done. And I'm really looking forward to witnessing more of your shows here in Miami and throughout the States as I travel, as you travel. And I'm wishing you the best of luck on this new venture throughout promoting your music to the United States and globally abroad. So thank you so much.
Thank you very
Really
much.
appreciate it, brother.
Take care.
Man.